Bon dia a tothom. Benvolguts, bienvenidos, welcome to everyone. És un plaer per a mi i tot l'equip de la representació de la Comissió Europea a Barcelona rebre els participants d'aquesta iniciativa, The Sun Trip. Jo volia agrair, primer de tot, al Ferran Tarradellas, que està amb nosaltres. Ferran és l'antic director de la representació de la Comissió a Barcelona. Ara està treballant a França i ha treballat amb el Florian, no sé on és el Florian, i tot el seu equip a França per fer la publicitat d'aquest esdeveniment. Aquí tenim l'oportunitat també de comptar amb la cooperació molt estreta de l'Ajuntament de Barcelona, la Sílvia Casorrán, que està amb nosaltres aquí avui. I realment és un honor poder obrir aquest acte. Passaré a l'anglès ara mateix to describe a little bit the actual initiative. It's a very impressive initiative. I'm sure many of you through social media are aware of it. It's an initiative Sun Trip Europe will know a little bit more through Florian in a minute, but that really reflects the impressive effort of a group of people who have been or are still traveling through more than 28 countries, have been with these solar bikes that you can see just behind. You have an example prototype. Well, it's more than a prototype. I guess it's the actual device that is used by either Dirk, Sibyl, or Daniel, who are here with us. And by the way, congratulations, Daniel and Sibyl, for your recent engagement and honeymoon via this initiative. We're all very happy for you and hope you're enjoying it as much as you can in the present circumstances. It's a very courageous act. More than 10,000 kilometers are being traveled by the participants of these impressive initiatives, with all the difficulties and the challenges that this represent. It also is an initiative which symbolizes the values that represents us as European in the wider sense. Not only, of course, the freedom of circulation of people, for which we've been fighting quite a lot under this period of pandemia, as you all very well know. And now we have a digital pass to be able to continue with this free circulation, which is never to be taken for granted. But also, of course, the sustainable mobility, which is an integral part of the Green Deal, and also the recently adopted package of the Commission in order for us to become the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. I will not be much longer. Going back to Catalan, I think it's important to stress that necessitem aquestes iniciatives inspiradores per mostrar que realment la transició ecològica és una obra de tot, que tot tenim una aportació a l'objectiu d'un continent climàticament neutre al 2050. So, congratulations to all of you i moltes gràcies. Passo la paraula a Sílvia.
Gracias, Manuel. You can see the sun trip here in Barcelona. The sun is there, so it's giving you the very warm welcome. Well, from Barcelona City Council, we are very happy to give this warm welcome to the participants from the sun trip. This is an amazing adventure, as Manuel was mentioning, that is showing us that sustainable way of moving and sustainable way of generating electricity is possible, even crossing 28 countries along more than 10,000 kilometers. Today in Barcelona, we've got the visit of 3 of the 36 participants, 3 of sun trippers, that they are already cycling for 6 weeks, from Belgium to Latvia to Romania to the Alps, and they still have a long way in front to cross Spain, to climb the Veleta peak, which is 3,400 meters, visiting Porto in Portugal, and arriving to their final destination in Lyon. This is wow. This is incredible. I'm a daily cyclist myself, and I have to admit that I feel really a lot of respect about your adventure. This April, European Parliament and Member States agreed a new law to cut carbon emissions by at least 55% by 2030, compared with 1990 levels, and become the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. In September, we'll get first news about how to reach this objective, but it seems that at least 30% of the European long-term budget will be spent on climate-related measures. It's clear that we need to keep the Paris climate deal signed already 5 years ago. But, transport sector is responsible for 30% of CO2 emissions in Europe, and it's the sector that is doing the worst in relation to decrease emissions since 1990. In fact, it's the only sector that is increasing the emissions. The rest of sector, agriculture, industry, domestic sector, they are decreasing, but not transport sector. Last year, in January 2020, Barcelona City, we declared the climate emergency with many actions oriented to Paris climate deal. But at the same time, at a regional level, we are still, nowadays, these days, we are still discussing whether we need to make our airport bigger in order to allow economy expand. We only have one planet. Without natural resources, there's no economy or human life possible. We need to decrease. It's a very basic concept, but still some politicians, companies, and consumers are acting as if we have plenty of spare planets. In this sense, the Sun Trip Challenge is for us an opportunity to rethink the way we move, the way we travel, the way we get our energy. So we want to thank you for this opportunity, and we hope you enjoy our city and the rest of your trip through Spain, Portugal, and France, and back home. Take care and cycle safe. Still a big challenge also in our country. Thank you very much. Ya vas.
Vale. Molt bé, moltes gràcies. Passarem ara a una taula de debat tant amb els participants com amb Florian, que ens podrà explicar una mica més a fons la iniciativa del Sun Trip. So I will ask the participants to come to stage and to take seats so we can discuss a bit more on your big adventure. Thank you. Sí. Se'm sent? Ara. Moltes gràcies. Començarem. We will start with the presentation of this big adventure. Florian Bailly, it's the co-founder of Sun Trip. So first of all, please explain us a little bit how do you came to this idea, how all this start, and this is not the first Sun Trip you have, so put us in context a little bit, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the welcome, and thank you very much for all the work to organize this event now in Barcelona. It's a big pleasure for us. As Sylvia said, we start in Brussels 46 days ago with the Vice President of European Commission, Frans Timmermans, and it was a really great journey until Barcelona today. And just I would like to explain that today there is 3 participants. There were 36 participants at the start, and the winner are already arrived in Lyon the weeks before. That means right now 3 participants are arriving in Lyon in less than 33 days. That means that the leader of the Suntrip race reached Lyon in about 350 kilometers per day, thanks to the solar energy and the solar bicycle. So there are participants everywhere in Spain right now. 3 of them are in the Pico Veleta climb today. Others are arriving to the Spanish border, and other participants are still in France. So we are a group of participants everywhere in Europe. And about the Suntrip, to answer your question, I created the Suntrip after myself doing a big trip from France to Japan 10 years ago alone with the first solar bike of travel, and then I decided to create the Suntrip event, and the first edition from France to Kazakhstan, and then France to Turkey, and then France to China in 2018. That was our biggest event, from Lyon to Guangzhou in China on the new Silk Road, with a simple rules. That means that there is 1 point of departure and 1 point of arrival, and the participants are not following by any assistance, and they can choose which routes they want to cross and which country they want to cross. So it's like a boat race, but it's on the ground and powered not by the wind, but powered by solar energy. That means that the solar panel you see on the bicycle recharge battery, big battery, and the battery charge the motor, and the motor allows the participant to go faster and also to make a little bit less of effort. That's the purpose of a solar bike. It's an e-bike with a solar recharge of the battery. That means that you don't have to use your charger and to plug. With the sun, you can be autonomous with the energy. That's the purpose of Suntrip. It's to explain that solar mobility can work with bicycle, and you can go very far. We go very far to China, we go very far to Kazakhstan and Turkey, and right now for this 4th edition, we decided to make this loop around Europe. Of course, it's 11,000 kilometers, the whole loop. But it's not only about cycling. It's the purpose is to meet people like today in Barcelona, but also on the road, or the participant will explain to you that they can be invited to many houses during the trip. The idea is to promote the solar energy thanks to the participants. They are our ambassador, and they are the ambassador of the new energy.
Yeah, so maybe I'm sure everyone it's willing to know a little bit more about this and about the participants. I will switch to Catalan now. A veure si funciona bé el sistema de traducció i em podeu rebre. Are you getting me? Tenim entre els participants, fantàstic, entre els participants tenim a Dirk Wils, from Belgium, de Bèlgica, i també a Daniel Gení i Sylvie Felder, que, com s'ha dit aquí, estan celebrant aquest viatge de noces per posar encara més emoció amb aquesta aventura. Doncs el primer que us voldria preguntar a cadascun de vosaltres és que ens expliqueu una mica aquesta ruta que heu fet i a on heu gaudit més de la bicicleta i, en canvi, a on us heu trobat les majors dificultats. Començo per tu, Dirk. On ha estat allà on més bé t'ho has passat d'aquesta ruta per Europa i on t'ha costat més seguir?
Good morning, everybody. It's very difficult to say which moment is the most beautiful or which moment is the worst. I think everywhere in Europe you find beautiful places. I was lucky to do it once again this sun trip. When you ask me what's the most beautiful place, I think perhaps the forests in Polonia, in Poland. I like also Slovenia, but I like everywhere I find beautiful places, and everywhere you can find very friendly persons where you can stay in the evening. I like to sleeping in the wild or something. I like to sleeping to the people at their home, at their garden. So not all the time on camping or big hotels, but everywhere you find very kind people. So that's make such a trip so beautiful.
I Daniel i Sílvia, els vostres moments més memorables d'aquest viatge que heu fet, que ja esteu gairebé al final i per tant parlem de prop de 10.000 quilòmetres a través d'Europa. Daniel, you first.
I think, hello everybody, good morning. I think one of the most memorable moments for me was when we were in the Carpat Mountains. We climbed them. It was a hard climb, and our batteries were already low, and we had just a beautiful, perfect sunset. This was, I think, one of the most perfect moments for me on this trip.
And Sibyl?
I generally enjoy the mountains more than the flat parts on the trip. Then you climb, and after you have a little rest to go down. Yeah, that's what I prefer, and I really love Poland. I think it's a very beautiful country, a very beautiful seaside, and yeah, the east countries we generally don't know at home, but yeah, it's beautiful. Go there. You don't need to fly far away for nice holidays.
Okay, thanks. And on your travel, as you say, you meet a lot of people. How is the reaction of these people that see the bikes, and even the administration, because one of the main goals of the Sound Trip is to make people realize that another way of moving and of generating energy, it's possible. So this is also for you, Florian. How are those reactions, and are there different in the different countries of Europe?
For me, since 10 years, we launched the Sun Trip. The direction is the same, because when someone see a solar bike, he see first a traveler by bicycle, and the traveler by bicycle is someone with a very big freedom, and that's universal freedom. And also when you see a Sun Tripper, you saw, of course, the solar energy, and that's also a kind of freedom. So these participants are double kind of freedom, and that is very universal. That means that you can go to Milano, you can go to China, you can go to Barcelona, and all the people can understand that doing that. For example, Daniel and Sibyl, is the first time she's traveled by bicycle, and maybe she accept to make it because the solar bicycle helps to pedal a little bit less or to go a little bit faster. And that's very interesting. That's a human story, and this human story are created by and thanks to the solar and the new energy. That means we want to promote solar and new energy, not saying that everybody needs to use solar energy and everybody needs to make solar bike. It's not our purpose. We just want to show that it's real, it's working now, it's not for the in 100 years, but it's working now, and it's allow people to travel in a different way. The faster participant can go very fast, and it's like Formula One, they can go up to 400 kilometers in a day, it's amazing. But the other participants going slowly, they can be kind of ambassador and showing to the other people that, okay, I'm maybe not a traveler But thanks to the solar bike, I can do it. And that's the reaction of the people when they show the bicycle. They say, oh, maybe also myself with this kind of bicycle, I can become a traveler around the world or around Europe. So for us, it's absolutely fabulous when we saw that people can be inspired by the participant. And of course, when we are talking about our leader, the faster participant, the other reaction of the people in the media, when you say the first participant crossed Europe in only 33 days with an average kilometer per day of 350 kilometers, the guys we met say, oh, maybe with a car I cannot go faster than you. Maybe in reality they can go faster than the solar bike, but try to go with your car around this trip of 11,000 kilometers. I'm sure you will not make it in less than 20 days. So with a car maybe 20 days, and with a solar bicycle 33 days. That's not so big as difference. That means we are creating a new kind of mobility. Of course, we are not saying that everybody needs to drive a solar bicycle but we just want to inspire people.
Okay, and what about the institutions, the public administrations? Manuel Szapiro was speaking about the Green Deal, this big commitment of Europe to be the first climate neutral continent. Have you seen a change during these years on the institutions as well and on the political leaders in Europe?
I think for us first, it's a big honor to be supported by European Commission, but also by a lot of European city in Europe, and for sure, we are doing this since about 10 years, and we didn't change anything in our project, but we see that now it becomes more and more efficient. That means that we are moving into a different world, and the European Commission wants to make it with the Green Deal, but also Lyon city, also Barcelona city, also Riga, also Costanza. In each city, we saw that political and institutional people want to move in a different way. And it's for us very... it's just an honor to be a project that can focus the interest of the people and the politics, and for us to bring the centric spirit and the green deal spirit around Europe. We met maybe, I don't know, 10,000 people around Europe, and a lot of media. It's a great opportunity to explain that new mobility, it's become now. It's not for 100 years later. It's become now, and if everybody work for it, it will work.
Gràcies. I per fer, torno als participants, per fer possible aquesta nova mobilitat, probablement un dels grans reptes és tenir una infraestructura segura a les carreteres, a les ciutats. Volia preguntar al Dirk, Daniel i Sibyl, com heu trobat aquesta infraestructura al llarg d'Europa? Està preparada tant la connexió europea com les nostres ciutats, les ciutats europees, per fer aquesta mena de viatges o per anar en bicicleta en el nostre dia a dia? Dirk.
Oh, difficult question. I think, no, they are not already prepared. We make a tour in Europe, but although there are 4 countries where we have to change money. So it's not really Europe. And infrastructure for bikes, no, it's not all the time very in a good conditioning. So there is some work to do.
Okay, but you are a real veteran on this. So have you seen a change, an evolution on this?
There is some change, yeah. I'm already makes a lot of time bicycle tours in Europe, and I see it's changing. It's better and better. Yeah, okay.
En Daniel, Civil, parlem una mica però de Barcelona, de Catalunya, d'Espanya, per exemple. Com tenim aquesta infraestructura per rebre la bicicleta en comparació amb d'altres països europeus?
When we crossed the border to Spain from France, the infrastructure for a bicycle changed because the roads in Spain, they have a quite large side on the road, which is actually perfect for us. It's perfect paved usually, so we can keep driving fast, and the cars have really enough space to take us over. So in terms of roads, we were really happy to ride in Spain. Yeah. There's also some bicycle paths, but I think it's not really necessary if you have such a large space on the road, because it's a bit a difference between a normal bicycle and a solar bike. The solar bike is larger, and it goes a lot faster than a normal bike in many cases. So there's two different needs, from the daily bicycle driver or the tourist who wants to see more things, or the solar bike driver who actually feels a bit in a race.
Yeah, and I think car drivers should accept bicycle riders, cyclists more, and let us enough space when they turn over, or how do you say?
When sie überholen.
Yeah.
When they take over, yes.
When they take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important for us, so we can feel safe on the road too.
Yes. General, the road conditions in Spain are better than in France or Italy.
Yeah.
Less holes and.
Yeah, and car drivers like to horn on us, which is nice, but it's also a bit scary from time to time. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and the bicycle, it's a transport for big trips, but also a day-to-day transport. And I am quite curious, on your daily life, do you use bicycle? I guess it's not one of these one, but how do you move on your daily lives?
Yeah, at home we use all the times our bikes.
But the solar bike?
No, not all the time. Normal bike. But from time to time, yes. Both.
Okay.
And the cars, as less as possible.
Okay. And what about you?
We live in a remote area. In winter times you need a car because the road is frozen and it quite goes uphill to our house. But also in our daily life, I used my solar bike from 2018 as much as possible and reasonable. And it's your daily life bike that we actually transformed into the solar bike. Yeah. So when we get home, we have
no other choice.
No other choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Doncs, com estàvem dient, aquesta iniciativa també ens mostra que una altra manera de moure's és possible, però també una altra manera de generar energia, i energia neta, no? Obrint una mica el focus, us volia preguntar què n'opineu de les diferents fonts d'energia verda. Penseu que totes són iguals? S'hauria d'apostar per la solar o per l'eòlica? Quina és la vostra opinió? And I will ask this to Florian as well. I was wondering, what do you think about the renewable energies? You will go for solar, or do you think we need to diversify? What is your opinion on the different resources we have, and what should Europe do on this?
I think we have to diversify because the energy sources we know, they give energy in a constant way, and the sun is not always there. The wind sometimes is not strong enough to produce electricity, but we really need to focus on all sources we have. Also biomass is also a good green energy. And so we have to evaluate which energy has which potential, because it's not reasonable to, for example, to replace all petrol cars by electric cars. It's just too much lithium needed for it. It's not on our one planet we have. So we have to think about where to use what. And for example, the sun not just makes electricity, but you can also use it for hot water. And for hot water, the sun is more efficient than for electricity. And the regular house in Western Europe uses about 2/3 of its energy in form of heat and not in form of electricity. So we really need to keep our eyes open to all different sources of energy we can actually use. But most important is to use less, because I think the amount of energy we use today, we can't replace by green energy. It's just too much.
Okay.
And I would say that about the bicycle, since the 10 last years, electric bicycle become more and more famous, and it's all people to maybe sell a car or use more and more bicycle. And what we want to promote is that the solar bike is the next step of the e-bike development. That means that it's not solar bike. It's not only to have the solar bike included in the bike. You can also use e-bike and charge your e-bike with maybe some solar parking. We can imagine that maybe in 20 years there we can have a solar parking, and all the electric bike can recharge the battery with green energy. Because of course it's a good idea to have more and more electric vehicle, but it will be more efficient if we can recharge this whole battery with clean energy. And what we want to promote with the Sun Trip is that you can include the solar panel in your bicycle, but as you can see, it's quite large, and maybe for the daily use, it's not the best option. But for a daily use, you can have a solar panel at home, and you can just refuel the battery, or you can refuel the battery at work or in the city. So I'm sure that in the coming years, we will have more and more solar solution to recharge, a kind of daily recharge, and it will be great. And of course, we are sure that also for our solar bike, the solar panel are more and more efficiency, and there are more and more lights. So the performances of the solar bike will increase, and that's amazing to see that years after years we can have new records and say to the media, okay, the winner of the first edition, he ride about 200 kilometers. In the second edition, the winner was 280 kilometers per day, and then right now the winner is 350 kilometers per day. So it's just increasing, and I cannot imagine what will happen in 10 years about the solar
Why
mobility.
not? Imagine. Let's just imagine what will
At
happen.
least we can imagine
years.
that maybe some car can also be recharged with solar energy. Right now it's not possible because cars are too heavy. But if we can imagine smaller car and very light car, also tricycle, I'm sure that we can have more and more solar car in the daily use.
Okay.
That's I think a reality in the 10 years coming.
And Dirk, for instance, how do you imagine this trip in 10 years?
In 10 years...
How will Europe be, the cycles be, the people
in
be?
10 years, I think you will have e-bikes as the one we have now, but with a small panel, perhaps of a half meter square only that. And then you can go to your work, you put your cycle on the parking of your work, and in the evening your battery is charged again. So this will be the future.
And Sybille and Daniel, how do you imagine this future?
I hope that the Sun Trip event stays a bit like it is. It doesn't become like too professional with very big sponsors, because now it's a family. It's a Sun Trip family. It's the spirit of the Sun Trip is knowing the other participants, seeing their bikes, exchange how you build it, see what's better, and that's a bit my wish for the future of the Sun Trip, that it stays an open event for everyone, because construction a solar bike, basically it's not that complicated if you have a little bit of technical knowledge. And you also in the group, you find information, people tell, oh, I use this charge regulator, this is a good one, this is not good. Oh, my solar panel broke last year, so you better take this. And that's my wish for the future of the Sun Trip.
Okay. M'agradaria obrir el debat al públic, tant el que està aquí com a la gent que ens pugui estar seguint a YouTube. Per tant, aquí teniu els participants i el fundador de Sun Trip. Aprofiteu, si teniu preguntes, us passaran un micro. Alguna mà? Allà? Podeu fer la pregunta en català, en castellà, en anglès.
Perfect. Just one question to the travelers. Do you find problems with the police that see you with these amazing bicycles and they say, what is this? You know, about safety issues, or maybe the bicycle is not allowed because the country does not have the regulation. It's a regular bike with a solar panel, but it's quite, you know, different bike. So, do you have problem with the authorities? Thank you.
Only at home. In Switzerland, the police stopped me once with my China bike, and they said, oh, is this legal? Do you have insurance for this? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, it may be a problem in an accident. And they say, yeah, we let you go, but you hear from us. I've never heard anything. But in the whole rest of the world I've traveled, the police just stopped for photos and congratulations or other interest, except for home.
And Dirk?
Yeah, the police, sometimes they stopped us, but as you said, they stopped for making a selfie with us and have a good talk, but no problems at this moment. So it's good.
Sybille, no problems with the police?
No, with the police, no.
Maybe I can say that the two leaders were driving a velomobile. A velomobile, it's a small bicycle with, what we can say, with a carena.
It looks like a Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's like a little car, but inside they are pedaling. But you can see that they are pedaling. So they are stopped by police in Spain at least 2 or 3 times per day. But finally, as the participants say, thanks to the solar energy, and also because this is a kind of happiness event, finally we succeed that the police just make an autograph in the solar panel or take the pictures. And we had the same situation when we go to China. And of course, when you cross the Ukrainian, Russian border, Kazakhstan border, and Chinese border, it's not a joke. It's big border, and people with the car or truck have to wait for maybe sometime for 1 day to cross the border. And with the bicycle, it's amazing to see that you can go freely, and then it's like a passport it's like a second passport to cross the border. So we hope that situation can continue. Of course, when the solar bike will be produced by a real company, because right now it's not the case, but in the future, we are sure that you can go in the bike shop and have a solar bike product. in this situation, of course, we will have to talk about insurance so in some countries, like Switzerland, for example, it's already in progress, also in France. Of course, for the sun trip, it will be something that we have to deal in the future.
Other questions here?
Moltes gràcies. Tinc una pregunta sobretot per la vostra habilitat de construir les bicicletes, perquè si no m'equivoco sou vosaltres mateixos qui heu fet les vostres bicicletes. I és que un dels problemes que hi ha a les ciutats, com Barcelona, és que cal fer el repartiment de les mercaderies cada dia i cal fer-ho amb transport net, aprofitant el sol que tenim aquí la major part de temps. La meva pregunta seria, vosaltres veieu potencial amb la tecnologia actual per fer vehicles ciclistes solars pel repartiment de mercaderies cada dia o encara no estem en el punt de crear aquesta mena de vehicles per al repartiment urbà?
Okay. This was a difficult one, Ferran. Okay.
I saw already some food delivery people who had an electric bike. No, without solar, but we know other participant who did the sun trip in 2018, and he did also some food delivery for fun in Antwerpen, in Belgium, and he used his solar bike to do this, and he was fast with it. So, yeah, he could deliver hot food.
I think the supply. For instance, it's just people who build these bikes themselves. To be honest, most of the components come from China. You need to build a bike like this. And it's like if you have a original bike like with a Bosch motor, for example, it's not so easy to solar charge it because the system communicates with CAN bus. And to enter there with some random current source is not so easy if you don't have the source code of the communication in the e-bike system. But on the, I say, simple bikes or cheap bikes, there it's possible without many problems to actually solar charge them. Maybe one day some stores start or some bicycle shops start to build solar bikes or sell solar panels with their bikes. I could imagine this, but it's not. I think it's not ready yet.
Right now, you can find in France, in Switzerland, you can find a small producer of solar bicycle. You can, for example, buy a trailer who include a solar bicycle, a solar panel with also the motor. That trailer you can adapt in your bicycle, and your bicycle become a solar bicycle. So that's already possible, but it's very, very small production right now. But I'm sure that all the companies who invest a lot in the e-bike production, especially in Europe, in the coming years, they will have to imagine some solar production also. Right now, the company, e-bike company, were not very interested by the solar bike idea, because they prefer that the consumer use the battery and use the charger and maybe buy 2 batteries and not 1 battery. So, but the model will change. I'm sure about that. The model will change because more and more e-bike are now sell, and it's just normal way to recharge a battery with solar energy. So I'm sure that in the coming years we will have a solution, and maybe in the sun trip we will also have a kind of category for the normal solar bike production. I don't know. We will have to imagine something, because right now we have a lot of people who made it in themselves. It's very interesting, as Daniel said. But of course, it will be another story when the company will make it for everyone.
Dirk, what do you think? We will be able to see delivery on solar bikes, or can it become more? Can it have a commercial potential here?
Yes, I think so. As I said some times ago, yeah, I think it will be possible to have a solar bike with a very small solar panel, which one you can drive everywhere, and yeah, 10 years, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, 10 years from now.
We don't have to forget that, for example, Dirk, yesterday, with a big sun like this, he rode 250 kilometers in one day. That's amazing distance for someone who ride every day. That's with a normal bike, you cannot do that. That means that people who already today maybe buy a solar e-bike, they can discover that they can go faster. They can travel again with bicycle without the car. But with the autonomy of a normal e-bike, maybe you will go 80 kilometer, 90 kilometer. And then with the sun trip, we show that we can go out of this limit. And it could be no limit thanks to the solar energy. So it's allow people to make a very good trip and to become a traveler. So that's very amazing.
Okay, we have another question.
Another is coming.
Hello?
Yes.
It does work. Thank you very much. I had one comment derived from my previous experience and one question to actually, if I may, all the participants. The comment is drawing back on what you were saying, Florian, on the model. I think we should not underestimate how much such initiative as yours helps changing the model. And I've experienced that in my former capacity. We worked a lot with your compatriot Bertrand Picard on Solar Impulse and the 10,000 solutions for clean energy. And we could see that there is a lot we can do, public institutions, but at the end the lead needs to be taken by the citizens, because you combine the power of action with the power of imagination. And this is what you refer to as, well, inspiring others to think about how they live their life, how they travel, how they commute, how they consume the energy, how they produce the energy. I mean, all this is something that they actually start thinking, seeing you, so it's super important. And also companies and innovators starting to incorporate things such as the one you mentioned in order to be able to have a more practical, solution-driven green transition. And the public decision makers, which some of us, not very many fortunately, represent here, we should help that. That's what we're trying to do, but at the end of the day, it cannot come top down. We cannot say, okay, there will be a climate neutral continent by 2050 and everyone is clapping in their hands. It's only thanks to initiatives such as yours that it's actually taking place. And it's thanks to your initiative also that some people, and I experienced that firsthand, are investing heavily in new solutions. For instance, Danielle, you mentioned lithium. If you combine circular economy with lithium, perhaps we could have a lot more lithium than we have right now in Europe. And we are also developing lithium resources, as you probably know, in Spain, in Portugal, in the Czech Republic, thanks to the initiatives that you're having. It's the same thing for other holistic approach that is needed. My question, since you said you're part of a family, but you all are at different stages in terms of participation, organizer, you've done already all of them, all of a trip, as I understand, and Sibyl, you're quite new. I would be really interested to know what was your fundamental motivation for you for doing it again and again and again, and for you to start and for you to keep, alleviating, lifting all the hurdles that you need to leave for the organization, and for you also, apart from the honeymoon aspect, everything else. Thank you.
Maybe Dirk, you can start. Why your motivation?
I'm very motivated to do this sun trip. I'm a lucky man that I could already participate to the 4 big editions of this sun trip. God thank that I'm in a good health and in a good conditioning to do it. And I hope with this I can inspiring other people for this kind of trips. You know, altogether, now when I will arrive at home with this bike, I will have 50,000 kilometers only with this bike on solar energy, with these 4 sun trips editions. So I hope to inspiring other people with this.
Yeah, please, Daniel.
Yeah, me, I come from a family with a background with green energy. My father already built for the Tour de Sol. That was the first solar vehicle race in the world, probably. 4 mobiles. And when I grew up, we could use them to drive around on our parking lot at home when I was a small boy. And so I have this background of green energy, and I start working for my uncle, who actually was inspired by my father from his mobiles with electric bicycle. I start working from him, and then a French customer came to our shop and asked if he could put a solar panel on his bike. And I had the idea in mind to once make a tour around the Black Sea by bicycle, and then I thought, oh, maybe this sun trip, that's something for me. And so it came that in 2018 I participated in the sun trip. And how it came that we did this edition, it's Sybil to explain. It's her fault.
Yes, well, first was the plan to do a second sun trip to China, but now because of COVID it changed to the tour of Europe. And then we saw it on the map, on the internet, and I looked at it and I thought, wow, must be very interesting to see all these cultures and countries and different kind of people and everything. And I said, let's do a sidecar on your old bike. So I can sit there and you pedal and we can do it together. And then he was not so happy with this idea, so we started to build the 2 bicycles we have now. And for me it was the motivation to do this, to see a bit of the world or of Europe. Maybe also to better understand how he felt on the sun trip 2018 to China. Yeah, to do an adventure.
Nice. We have a question from the YouTube chat, a more practical one, I would say. Paul Prats is asking, have you found yourself in the situation of having several cloudy days and not being able to charge your batteries with the sun? And if yes, how did you manage it? Dirk.
Yeah, in this trip the weather was not all the time very good. We had, I think, 2 weeks with very bad weather. Then you have to share your battery and to try to use the battery as a minimum as possible. But it's difficult. On flat roads you don't use the battery. When it go a little bit up you use a little bit wattage, but not too much. It's not easy. Yeah. But after rain, all the times it's coming back the sun. Sometimes it's long. But it's coming. After rain there is sun.
It comes at the end,
Yeah.
Daniel Civil, problems with the batteries, not enough sun. It's not normally the case in Barcelona, but otherwise
there were cloudy days, but I think, as I can remember, there was always a little sun, maybe just enough to reach the top of the mountain or whatever. I think we can't complain too much. And then, if there was not much sun, we pedal more, or we don't pedal 8 hours, we do maybe 4 hours, and only use the motor when it goes up. Yeah, that's how it is.
Okay.
But we can say that it's very efficiency, because, for example, I was with the leader in the Stelvio pass climbing. It's one of the harder paths in the Alps. and it was cloudy, not raining but cloudy. But the leader was, I think, about 400 watts on the very large solar panel. It was enough with the cloud to charge a little bit. That means it was a little bit help, and so he decided to go very slow in the climbs, but without problem. That means that on the top there is still about 25% of the battery. So the solar panels are so large, it's not necessary. We not necessarily need the full sun all the day. That means that you can charge, for example, in the morning. You can have a breakfast. If the sun is in the morning, you can take more time for the breakfast time, or you can, if the sun become later for the lunch, for example, you can make a little sleep, and then the waiting that the solar charge works. And what we can say is when the sun is here, our participant, the faster, at the end of the day, the battery is almost full, 80% of the battery, because they can maybe produce even more energy than they consume.
Okay. More questions on the stage? Yeah. No.
Sí, ara.
It's okay.
I would like to get some homework for the city of Barcelona from you, from your experience and from your opinion. What are the policies the cities should really boost to be a 100% cycling city? Is it about infrastructure? Is it about parking policies? Is it about education? Is it about regulations? Is it about last mile distribution? Or I mean, what's the most important that we should focus to really improve as a cycling city?
It's not an easy question, actually. I'm sure one good point is last mile distribution, that this can be done by cargo bike. I think the roads are quite good. We have a lot of bus and taxi tracks that you also can easily take with the bicycle, at least for us yesterday anyways, and this morning too. It's forbidden. We used it, it was comfortable. We didn't bother anyone, I think.
Oh, you need to change that.
For people not coming to we crossed many cities that are actually very good equipped also for bicycle roads, for example the Netherlands. But as a non-citizens of the city, it's hard to find your way on this path. So if you don't have a navigation that includes all the bicycle ways, it's impossible to really use them. So we stayed on the main road. But I think for citizens who know the city well, it takes not long that usually people do the same distance every day or once in a while, so they know the good path very soon. But if you come to a city and you don't know it, then it's not easy to understand the bicycle ways.
No. Maybe what also at Switzerland, what you could do better is when you are on the bicycle path, but then you want to turn or cross the road, you often have to go down from the bicycle and take the, was heißt das, Fußgänger?
Yeah, it's often the bicycle way. On a road crossing, it stops, and you have to go down the boardwalk, and then cross the road, go on the other side again, and keep going on. So I think that bicycle paths are attractive, especially to speed pedelecs, which are coming more and more. It has to go straight and be as fast as the road, with not a lot of obstacles.
No, yeah.
I think that's the
If
most
you have
important
to stop
point.
every 200 meters to cross something, then it's
You
very
don't
annoying.
use the bicycle path.
You stop. And the bicycle paths need to be in good conditions also, and enough large to also to cross other bicycles. Yeah.
But what we see also, if new roads are built, almost in every country, they build a bicycle path on the side, which is great.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the road is older, the bicycle path is not that good anymore because the roots from the trees, they lift the tar, and then it is really like a bumpy road. So it's not usable anymore, but that's just a point we see what happens with bicycle paths once in a while.
There was another question there. Go on.
Ah, ça marche.
Yeah, yeah.
Bonjour, vous parlez français un peu?
Oui.
Super. I can do it in English. Est-ce que l'idée d'abandonner vous a effleuré l'esprit? Quand il y avait trop de difficultés au niveau technique, est-ce que vous vous êtes dit, un de vous a eu l'idée d'abandonner? C'est-à-dire c'était trop dur.
Concernant la technique,
Oui.
En anglais.
concerning to technical stuff, we have to do 4-time welding on the bike of Sibyl and 2-time on my. But otherwise, we were quite lucky. We had no problem with motor controller or solar charging system or nothing serious, at least. And mental-wise, days of 200 and more kilometers, which we did a couple times. Then you have 8 real riding hours on your computer. These are hard days. Then you are exhausted in the evening because controlling the bike is probably a bit more intense than with a normal bike. Your ass hurts, and you don't have a place to sleep yet. Then mentally, these are hard situations. Sometimes we have then different opinion about the place to sleep. But so far we always find a solution then which actually was good for both. But these days they draw power from you.
We can say that for half of the participants, almost half of the participants in the Sun trip sometimes give up for technical reason, or if we go to China or also on the tour of Europe, it can be too hard or too long, or you can be also sick. So there is many reasons that's why the participant can give up. But because it's very extreme trip. When you go from Lyon to Guangzhou, it's 12,000 kilometers. Around Europe, it's 11,000 kilometers. It's very, very big adventure. So it's normal that some of the participants can give up. Also because the solar bicycle can break. They can fall, they can have crash. We have 3 people at the hospital during the trip, so it's not a joke. Nobody died, of course. We were lucky, but 3 people go to the hospital. So cycling, it's never easy. It's never so safe. So the reason to give up there are many.
Dirk?
Yeah, it's a really challenge. When we went to China 2 times, we had temperature from almost 50 degrees. You know, Aral Sea in Kazakhstan, and also the Gobi Desert. It was almost 50 degrees, so it's very hard.
Okay, so it's not so bad now.
No,
that
it's
we
good
are
here. It's beautiful.
Well, Europe is really relaxed.
It's relaxed
in every
here
country.
in Europe. Yeah.
Okay. More question. One last question, maybe. Okay, thank you.
Ells han explicat abans que s'han construït les seves pròpies bicicletes. Volia saber si tots els participants ho han hagut de fer ells mateixos i també com funcionen ben bé aquestes bicicletes, quina autonomia tenen les bateries, una mica això.
Vale. Have all the participants built the bicycles themselves, and how it works? For instance, one question was, which is the autonomy normally of a battery of these bicycles?
We can say that on this trip, most of the participants build by themselves the solar bicycle, or maybe they can also find some help of e-bike seller or solar producer so they can find help. So they can do by their own, like Daniel, but they also can buy some solution. And we can say that normal autonomy of a solar bicycle is around 100...
150, I think.
Yes,
yeah.
150. It's, for us, it's kind of, kind of minimal distance you have to do in one day with the solar energy. We can also say that the solar bike can also be used. Also, you can also charge the battery at night in the camping or at hotel. And if you do that, of course, it's much easier. But just with solar energy, we can say that 150 it's kind of minimal distance per day. Okay. For example, our dean, the old ladies of 70 years old, during the Chinese edition, she make an average kilometer of 140 kilometers per day alone, thanks to the solar bicycle. And sometimes you can also have some day off, so we can really say that 150 is a minimum. And the record of the distance record in one day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. it's 458 kilometers in one day.
Wow. How much?
All batteries, if they would be really empty, it would take 3 hours to charge them in full sun.
And also, if you have a motor in the wheel, for example, you can climb the Pico Veleta. In the downhill, you can recharge the battery thanks to your motor. It depends on the motor you use. But with a big downhill, you can, I think, recharge almost full with
we don't charge downhill.
No, you don't charge.
We have
but
a different system.
Yeah, there is different system, but in a very long downhill, you can have the opportunity to recharge also the battery like this.
Okay.
Thank you.
There are no more questions. Okay, so I want to say you thank you, really. Welcome to Barcelona again, or enjoy Barcelona, and good trip.
Thank
you.
you.
And thanks to all people who are following us here and in YouTube.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And hope that in the future we can make we can have 50 solar bike in this place. It's perfect. And make a real departure in Barcelona, maybe for the next, European tour.
Okay.
Departure place is perfect here, so we have to come back, and we love to connect people and put people together. That's why we are doing that, and we are very happy and very lucky to meet you this morning.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks.